UAP are airborne objects that, when encountered, cannot be immediately identified. With regard to the importance of transparency, the Department is fully committed to the principle of openness and accountability to the American people.
We're going against the wind. The wind's 120 knots from the west. Oh my gosh, dude.
U.S. Navy personnel recorded what appears to be triangles, some flashing. The video was taken through night vision goggles with a single lens reflex camera.
Well, I would say, it's a pretty high-profile incident. I don't claim to be an expert. You're the guys investigating it. I mean, who else is doing it?
There's a whole fleet of them. Look on the ASA.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to UFO We Want to Know. This is June 1st already, and moving on with the year. Before I begin, as I always do, this is dedicated to those who have been ridiculed, made fun of, and dragged to the media for the last 76 plus years. I want to get on with the videos real quick. I got 2 videos and 20 photos to show you, and I want to do some comparison. So let's get on with the video real quick and let's see what we got here. As you can see with the arrow, it gives you an indicator where this UFO, where it originated from, where it's going. And we're going to play this a couple of times, and then we're going to get right to the photos because I'm compressed for time here. This UFO here was on my property, and this was in the backyard. I was facing actually northwest area. And I caught this UFO simply because when I was looking at the tree line, I was trying to gauge how fast these things were going. And because I knew there was UFOs in there, but I had to watch them. Now there's 2 UFOs here, as you can see. And as they climb, one took off and left the other to go in another direction, and that's the one that I took as the stills. Okay, and you're going to see what I'm talking about here. So this will be the last loop here, and then we'll get on to the photos because I have some commentary to talk about and get through, and I think you'll find that interesting. These 2 UFOs were flying quite fast. We slowed this down at 50%. Remember, this was taken in slow motion. If we had taken it in regular motion, you wouldn't be able to see these UFOs. But again, they were taken in slow motion, and we slowed it down another 50% here in the studio. There's where I did the stop motion on it. So that's the first one. Go on the next one. Okay, and that gives you an idea of this object. As we come in on it, just take a look at this. What do you see, ladies and gentlemen? Do you see a bullet, or do you see something else? This is the final photo of that. Now I want you to stare at this just for a second here, because when we come back to me in a second, I'm going to show you something that I found quite interesting. And I looked at this information up, and I thought this was really intriguing. You see what I'm holding up? This is the Die Glocke. It's a German word meaning the bell in English. And this is the object that was either anti-gravity or a time-traveling device. After World War II, after 1945, we couldn't find this device at all. All we found was the hinge, the mechanism that held this object, supposedly. This object disappeared with its originator. We never found him either. Interesting enough, in 1965, remember this was 1945 when the war ended. In 1965, a crash in Kecksburg, Pennsylvania happened, and this is what people said they claimed. Here we go. I'm all backwards here. What they found on the ground. You notice the writing on the bottom, the thick part. Well, there's nothing on the Glocke photographs or picturesque that they had that the Germans had actually showed. But this is what witnesses saw, and there was a lot of witnesses, not 2 or 3. There was over 20 witnesses. Some are still alive today, without a doubt, these people are still sharp in the minds. They have a monument up. This is an actual monument that they have there in Kecksburg. You can actually see. But I wanted to point out a couple of things. Kecksburg is known for this particular crash, and the government said that it was space junk from a Russian satellite. And there's a device they have that's called I believe it's called I have it right here, excuse me. I have it right here. They claim that it was part of a series of rockets that the Russians had shot up. And these were pronounced Venera 1, Venera through Venera 9. And from 1961 to 64, they had a lot of failures. But Venera 2, supposedly, according to the Russians, landed in a pattern around Venus. It flew by Venus. And it was unable to transmit any data, but it made it to Venus. Now here's the part that doesn't make a lot of sense to me. If it went to Venus, then how did it come back to Earth? Because the Russians do not program those spacecraft that were going to Venus. They didn't plan them to come back to Earth and then deteriorate as they came through the atmosphere. That wasn't their plan. Their plan was to send them to Venus, track it, take pictures, and transmit information back. This one never happened. This was dated November 1965. The crash, it coincides with the crash, but it was at Venus at the time. So how can it be at Venus and be on Earth at the same time? It doesn't make any sense. So there's a lot of misinformation out there, and I'm sure that NASA lost the information for 20 years, 22 years. And then when they reopened it in 2005, they said that it was a Russian space junk that was found in that crash. If it was space junk, it would be all over the place. It wouldn't be one solid piece because it's a breakup when it comes to the atmosphere. So on this next video, what you're going to be seeing is something very similar to this. And I go back to, of course, the Nazis and what they claimed they were making at the time. So we'll see. Let's go on to the next video. And we're going to play this a couple of times because I do have a lot of photos to show you. And what I did with this particular one, you can see the object there flying around. And what I did, now, ladies and gentlemen, we slowed this down 90% because this was so fast that we kept missing it. And I apologize to my technical director. We spent a lot more time than we usually do on this because these were very hard to see. And when we finally found them, we had to slow them down because they went from right to left or from left to right in a split second. So 90% from slow motion. That's how much we had to slow it down. Let's go ahead and go to the pictures after this. And down there, yes, that is my house. That little peak down there, that is my house. This was taken in May. Now, I'll give you the exact dates here, but what I wanted to, what I should include in the very first photo shoot was that two of these videos, one video was taken on the 23rd of May. The next 7 were taken all on May 16th. So I should have pointed that out, and I apologize. But there's where the object was right there, right over my house. Now I'm going to give you 3 different views of this object so you can see it, okay? Now, as I said again, it was going so fast that we had to slow it down 90%. Okay, here's the next series of shots, same object. I used different filtering systems, and by using different filtering systems, I got better detail, didn't I? This should be the final one of that one there. That's the second one. Now let's go to the third one. Over my house, it's the same UFO. And what you're going to see is sharper image of it. And as I used the software on, I was able to get some colorization in it. Whether or not that colorization is true or not, I don't know, because I use filtering systems in it. But I found that when I do this, I can get better optics to show you on television. Now, you saw that craft from the Germans' rendition of what they were actually building. That looks just like the same thing I showed you on the photo. It looks the same to me. Of course, the German UFO had, remember, this is back in the 30s when they were building these things, supposedly into the late 40s. And they were using these gigantic rivets like you see on ships of the day. And I don't think they would have gone, if these things flew, I think you would have heard a lot of whistling sounds or just a lot of sound, period. The reason why is because these rivets that they used, if that's what they actually put on these craft, they would have made some screeching noises going through the atmosphere. The other thing is, because of all the little modules coming out of those that craft, you would have been a target for radar. Even though radar was in its infancy at that time, you would have still been able to pick it up. A lot of static because of all the bolts hanging out of it. So I don't think that would have been the premier object. Now, what we want to show you is all three of these pictures. Now remember, this is the same UFO, and I'm experimenting with my optics. And it gives you an idea of what you can do if you just look at what you have and what you can use to get a better reference. Again, these are all the same three objects. The one on the left is the first one, the top right is the second one, and the bottom one is the one that has the colorization. So as I experiment with this filtering system that I use, and you know, it seems like every time I turn around, the phone companies want to update my phone, and they take out things that I need to do my show. And unfortunately, they've taken out erasers, and they've taken out some optics that I was using before, but I'm finding that they're giving me other things that I can use to make my stuff look, I guess, that much better. But for the most part, I've got to keep updating my phone, or it'd probably go crazy on me. We'll be back after this message.
Hi, I'm Joseph, the host and creator of UFO We Want to Know. Tune in every Saturday evening on KPVM Pahrump Channel 25.1 from 7 p.m. You'll see never-before-viewed videos and photos taken by myself, all over the world.
Thank you for watching. UFO We Want to Know, and remember, yes, they are out there.
Thank you for staying with us. I apologize for bumbling over a couple of the things in the first segment. But sometimes when you know what you want to say, sometimes you get crossed. On this next segment here, we're going to have 2 videos, and we're going to have 12 photos to show you. And as we go through them, I'll explain a little bit about what you're seeing in the video. Some of these videos were very hard. This was slowed down another 90% from slow motion. So let's get on with the first video. Now on this one here, I started off at 54 seconds, but there's a light UFO coming in through your left, and then a dark UFO coming down from left to right. And it seems like the white object, I'll call it white, it seems to slow down as the dark one was going by, and then it sped up and went on its way. It's almost as if it came to a traffic stop. Take a look at it. You can see it moving, and then it seems to slow down, and then the other one goes through, and then it continues on. Now the lighter one, it was flashing white and dark, flashing all the way through the video. Now we only had, we slowed it down and we pieced it together. In other words, we chopped it, because that lighter object, as you can see, the dark one left the screen. It continued on, but because we slowed it down so much, 90%, it would have taken about a minute to get up the screen, because it was going slower. You saw the dark one dart by, as you watch it dart by, and it went by quite fast, and the other one was just taking its sweet time. But as you can see, the dark one was leaving entrails there, and it was going in I believe that was a southerly angle, where the other one was going, I believe it was going southeast from my direction where I was pointing the camera. Taken on, this was taken on May 16th, 2024 at 11:59 a.m. So just a minute before noon in Pahrump. And of course, this is over my property here. And I thought that was quite interesting that the lighter UFO kind of stopped and waited for the other one to go by. So they must have been in the same proximity for it to do that. Why else would it slow down, then stop, and then continue on after? So after this, we can go on to the first photo. And I'll give you a better idea of what these two look like. Stop motion, here you go. You see the light one to the lower left, and upper right is the dark one coming down. And again, these two craft here, what I did was I'm going to show you a couple of pictures of the lighter one, and then I'll show you 3 pictures of the dark one close up. So let's go on to that next. Okay, there's the lighter one there. And there's the last picture. I only went to 2 of them because I know that if I keep showing you smaller ones and then go up progressively, I know it gets kind of boring, but I'm trying to make a point. But here, no point is needed. You saw both of them in action, and this is what we got. So let's look at the dark one now. And it looked kind of like a chili pepper, doesn't it? But it was moving quite fast. Now, when I did the stop motions, you have to remember, these craft, even though you may not see it, if you saw under the magnifier like I do, they don't go in a straight line. They wiggle back and forth. At this point in time, this one here was wiggling to the right, and that's why you got that squiggly line there. And that's the end result right there. But this craft was traveling quite fast. I have no idea how fast they are traveling, but I will say this, that when you take a video in slow motion and you have to slow it down 90% just to catch what you're seeing, that they're flying an incredible amount of speeds. Let's go on the next picture here. There's the video, excuse me, and you can see this one coming down. This one here was also taken in slow motion, and it was slowed down by 90%. Now, you remember in the beginning of my videos, I was showing things in super slow motion. What I found in super slow motion is you catch very little UFOs. If you take them in slow motion, you catch a lot of UFOs. But the only problem is that take them in slow motion, they're hard to catch because they're still traveling very fast. When I did them in super slow motion, I was able to find these UFOs without really any real problems. But when I come into the studio, sometimes we have to spend 10, 15 minutes just trying to find the UFO itself. Even though I have it marked down on paper where you can actually see it, it's not as easy as that because they're flying at such fantastic speeds that you can't catch them. So we'll loop this one more time, and then we'll go on to the photos. But what I want to do is I want you to understand that these UFOs, when they travel through our atmosphere, that UFO right there, let's loop this a couple of times. Matter of fact, I want to make a point here. You see this UFO, ladies and gentlemen? It's on this side of the clouds. It's not outside of our atmosphere. It's in our atmosphere. If it is, if you have a scientist friend of yours, and ask them, how can an object traveling at supersonic speeds that don't leave any sonic booms, how can they be not in our atmosphere, and yet they're on this side of the clouds? Ask the scientists and see if they'll answer it for you. I highly doubt it, but they've seen, what you're seeing here on television. I'm not the only one that shows these. If you're on the internet, like I am all the time, and you're constantly looking for new videos, you'll find that people show the same thing. You can see the clouds as plain as day, and you see the objects traversing inside the clouds, this side of the clouds, not on the other side. And sometimes you'll see objects actually disappear into the clouds and they come back out. which means what? Like a jet aircraft, when we're flying, we go into the cloud cover and then we come out, we're on top. Well, these craft, they seem to come in and out all the time. I take it they have fantastic navigation systems because you know, they don't crash into our jet airliners, but at the same time, we've had a lot of pilots claim that they had something fly over their aircraft at fantastic speeds, and they are asking the military, are you sending anything up over here in our particular flying area? And they, of course, say no. Well, those are UFOs, ladies and gentlemen. They're not bugs that are flying over the aircraft. They have to be UFOs, unidentified flying objects, and these are from intelligent beings from other civilizations. They're not ours. I don't know how many times I can stress that to scientists out there. They're not ours. NASA just released a couple more documents, and they're claiming they're finding Earth-sized planets here. They're finding asteroids here. They're tracking this, they're tracking that, and then they come up and they say, well, as far as the UFO, we still haven't found anything, nothing credible. I like when they talk about nothing credible. Well, I don't think what they're talking about is credible to the layman out there, because we don't care what they're claiming is to be something that's insignificant. If it's flying in our airspace and jet airline pilots are basically saying every day that they've seen something fly by their aircraft quite fast, and when they call air traffic control and they say, well, we don't see anything out there, that's a problem, because they're up there and the government is not acknowledging it, and they should. So after this loop here, we'll go to the first photo. And as you can see, the arrow, we actually, by accident, cut this one off. You can't see the object. So let's go to the next photo. And you can see the object's very faint. So I'm going to keep moving on with the photos. And this is the third actual stop motion photo that gives you an idea. Now, I want you to take a look at this object for a minute, ladies and gentlemen. This object was coming down. It wasn't going up. From a human point of view, if somebody was to show them this picture, and let's go on to the next one to make it a little more clear. If somebody was to show you a picture here, and they were to ask you which direction is this craft flying, you would say, or I would say most people would say up. Wouldn't you agree with that? Well, this object was coming down. It wasn't going up. And I'm making a point here because I want you to see something that I found very interesting, not just because you got some dark matter inside of this craft, which scientists, and I give them credit for this, they claim that that's density, and the lighter area around it is cold air. And I've said this before on my shows, scientists do not understand how a craft could be showing density or heat. Now, they can't make up their minds whether they want to call it heat or density or heat. They can't make up their minds, because if you hear some, they'll say, well, that's density, and then around it, that's cold air. Or some will say, well, that's heat, a heat signature inside, and that's cold air on the outside. And they don't understand from our physics, human physics, how that can happen. This is the last photo of it, and with that point, I want you to see something. Remember, this craft is coming down. It's not going up like you would think it was, like a bullet. But take a look at the bottom of it. Remember, this is going down. So if it was touching our atmosphere, why do you have some discrepancies as far as lines down there? It looks like it's engulfing whatever it's coming upon. And I believe that when I say that, if you look at it, if you say that it's sucking up the atmosphere as it's going through instead of pushing out, that makes more sense, because you got rigidness here, and it's not defined as aerodynamics. Now, if you look at the top, that would make more sense if this object was going up. it would make a lot more sense. That just goes to show you, our scientists don't know everything. They're still learning. And now, finally, I read an article, and I was so glad to hear that the scientists are actually saying this. Some astrophysicists are saying that we don't know everything there is to know about physics, mathematics. And I'm glad they're actually saying that, because for too long, they've been saying, well, the aliens use our same physics, our same mathematics to get from there to here. No, they don't. Stop saying that. It's asinine to say that. And if you continue saying that, just because you repeat it doesn't make it true. Now scientists are finally saying, now there are certain scientists who will say this, that our physics, we're still learning about it. We'll be back after this message.
Hi, I'm Joseph, the host and creator of UFO We Want to Know. Tune in every Saturday evening on KPVM Pahrump Channel 25.1 from 7 p.m. You'll see never-before-viewed videos and photos taken by myself, all over the world.
Thank you for watching. UFO, we want to know and remember, yes, they are out there.
Thank you for staying with from the third segment. And we have 2 videos and we have 19 photos to show you. And before I begin with the videos and photos, I just want to make it clear that I know I haven't brought any subject matter up, but I have so many videos to show you that if I don't put them out there, you're not going to ever see them after these shows are done. So I'm trying to get as many as I can for you to see. So let's go on to the first video. Again, we have the arrow pointing the way so you can actually track it. This video here was, I faced the camera into the sky here, so there's nothing that you can actually see. On this particular UFO here, I call it the bowling pin because it looks just like a bowling pin flying in our atmosphere here. Taken on May 16th again, 2024 at 11:57 a.m. Over my house, but this was straight up. I pointed the camera straight up so I can get a view of the sky. I don't normally do this, but I wanted to just to see if I could capture anything, and lo and behold, look what I've captured, a bowling pin flying through the air. Again, this was taken in slow motion. We slowed this one down 95% because it was flying so fast. Now, isn't it interesting that scientists will say that they're not flying in our atmosphere, and yet it's on this side of the cloud, as I said in the last segment, but yet we don't hear any sonic booms. You would think that these craft would leave some kind of sonic boom. But as I said so many times before, and you've heard this before, and you're going to continue hearing it, I don't believe they're touching our atmosphere. I believe they have a protective layer, whether it be electromagnetic, whether it be plasma field, whether it be some kind of anti-gravity mechanism that we are not familiar with. I believe that accounts for the reason why we don't hear any sonic boom. How is it that they could go into the oceans and don't make a splash? How is it they can travel in the ocean at 1,000 miles an hour? That's an impossibility for terrestrial mechanisms to maneuver on, and yet these craft do it. So there's a bit of a problem for our scientists and our governments around the world to claim that these objects are no threat to us. Well, if they are a threat to us, they're surely not showing it. So they claim that there's no threat here, but there's nothing to see here, but they investigate it. Program after program after program. Don't make sense. Go ahead and use taxpayers' money. We've got a free hand on it. You know, that's the reason why so many people out there, ladies and gentlemen, they use cash only, because they know that what they have in their hand is all they can spend. Whereas the government has a credit card that has nothing but zeros on it, because they can keep spending money as long as they have a credit card in their hand that says, the credit card says national taxpayers or American taxpayers on it. They can keep spending our tax dollars without any kind of flinch or having any buyer's remorse. Why not go ahead and buy a toilet seat for $3,500? go ahead. It's taxpayers' money. And that's the way they think. So let's go ahead and go on to the next, the first photo here. As I was jabbering here, wanted to get on with it, but I'm going to give you an idea of what this craft looked like. I remember I called it a bowling pin, and you can see as we get closer, it sure does resemble that, doesn't it? Kind of a messed up bowling pin, but nonetheless a bowling pin. And this should be the last photo of it. But doesn't that look like a bowling pin to you? Kind of a broken bowling pin, but nonetheless. And I found that quite interesting. Again, this was taken May 16th at 11:59 a.m., just a minute before noon. Now, in the same photograph, there was another UFO. We didn't follow it, but I want to show you what it looked like. It was up there. I got it circled. It's a dark object. It was flying from west to east at this time. That is the tip of my house here. I always make sure that I show the tip of my house to give an indicator of where I'm at. If some people don't believe that, on my phone it tells you the exact address that I was standing on when I took this photo in all my videos. I have that programmed in my phone. You can see it in the clouds there, just right of the tip of the house, about maybe 8 inches above the screen of your television set. Close-up of it, and you're going to notice something as we zero in on this. This craft was emitting a lot of electromagnetic fields. It had also a center part inside of it, and again, we call it density or heat, whatever makes the scientists happy. And we start seeing a little bit of color here. What I did was I went to a kind of purplish color to give you an idea of what the density inside of it was. And this should be the last photo over here. And this is about how as clear as I could get it. But this craft was traveling from, like I said, from left to right, and it wasn't going down. It was going kind of off sideways. And again, they don't use our aerodynamics, do they? I find these photos very interesting because a lot of photos that you see on television, they depict flying saucers, arrowhead-shaped saucers. They depict all kinds of what we would consider flying saucers. In my videos and my photos, I don't show you perfectly sound UFOs, not like the first segment where I showed that craft where I played with my software and got that iconic UFO, the sports model, if you will. But I show you what these craft look like. And I've talked to a couple of people who are retired space engineers, aerospace engineers, and they tell me that they could possibly be probes. I've said that many times in my shows that I think a lot of these are probes, and that's why you don't see the iconic UFO shape. So let's go ahead and go on to the next video here. And this one here was quite tough for my technical engineer to find. We finally did find it. We did slow this one down quite a bit, and the reason why, because it was flying so fast, as they all do, taken in slow motion. And as you can see, this one here, it started from where my rooftop was, and it headed into space. Now it was going westernly view. I think it was like northwest from me, towards like Vandenberg, from where Pahrump lies. And this craft just made a kind of like a right, and then it decided to go left, as you can see. Quite fast, really brilliant. I did darken this quite a bit so you can actually see it on the video, because this was taken at 11:57 a.m., just 3 minutes before noon on May 16th. So the reason why I darkened it is because it was giving out such a brilliant flash that I wanted you to see it on television. If you could see the flashes. Now, when I'm here in the station, I can actually see it on a smaller screen, so I know you're going to be able to see what I'm seeing. When you see it pulsate, I believe that's the electromagnetic charge that these craft utilize to traverse. And I mean, what else can you say? We're thinking of human terms, of course, but we're not aliens, are we? And for those scientists out there who see things like this, they claim that these right here are just anomalies. They're not what you think you're seeing. Well, I'm going to keep putting these videos out there because what I'm seeing is what I believe I'm showing the people out there are real. These are real UFOs. They're in our atmosphere and they're flying around. Now, the last couple of shows I've shown you, all of these were in Pahrump, Nevada. I'm taking them every single day, and I'm getting UFOs every single day. Just the other day, I got 30 of them, 30 UFOs. Unfortunately, you're not going to be able to see all these UFOs because there's too many of them, and I would have to put on an hour show every single day just to show them. So after this loop here, we can go to the first photo, and that's where I stop motioned it. Now, what I try to do for the benefit of the audience when we're doing this is I'm trying to wait for it to flash in its brilliance so I can capture it, and then as I zoom in on it, I get better optics, and you can be able to see what you were looking at as it was flying through our atmosphere. As you can see, I darkened the background here on purpose so you can see the outline of it. Again, it was flashing a very, very bright electromagnetic field. It could be a gravity, anti-gravity. I understand that these craft have gravity amplifiers in it. And so when the craft is flying, it's not flying with the sharp edge of the craft heading in that direction. It actually points its belly towards the direction it wants to go. And that's why when you see these craft looking like they're like this one here, you would think it's going up, straight up like that. It's actually going in a curvature because the belly of the craft, if it has these gravity amplifiers in it, it's going in the direction the gravity amplifier is pointing. Here I used a little bit of filtering system on it because I wanted you to see detail, and I'm glad I did this. Now the two little objects you see just to the bottom left of the main object here, I believe that's just remnants of this craft because of the way it was traveling. But as you can see, it's giving off a electromagnetic charge. You see a kind of orange corona around it, and then you see a lighter blue around that. Again, it could be plasma. We don't know. We don't know what's in these craft, but I believe that it is maybe some kind of plasma field inside of it. But take a look for yourself, ladies and gentlemen. This has to be some kind of electromagnetic field that's giving them a propulsion system. What else could it be? If you, as I said before in the last segment, if you have a chance to talk to a scientist friend of yours, please ask them about this. And if I'm wrong, correct me. You can contact me here at UFOWeWantToKnow@gmail.com any time of the day, or look me up on YouTube at Pahrump Alien Guy. Let me know what you think it is. I'm open to all suggestions, and I'll air it. If I'm wrong, I'll air it. We'll be back after this message.
Hi, I'm Joseph, the host and creator of UFO We Want to Know. Tune in every Saturday evening on KPVM Pahrump Channel 25.1 from 7 p.m. You'll see never-before-viewed videos and photos taken by myself, all over the world.
Thank you for watching. UFO, we want to know and remember, yes, they are out there.
Thank you for staying with us for the last segment. We have 2 videos and 12 photos to show you, so let's get on with the first video. As you can see, again, there's the tip of my house. You can be able to see just a little bit of it because we had to blow it up quite a bit in order to get this UFO into the view of the camera. And as you can see, this UFO is traversing through our atmosphere, going up like a rocket. But this was quite interesting. Now, on my paperwork that I have here, as far as my display, it doesn't show what I truly see on TV, and you'll see that as we go through each photo. But I thought this was interesting. Today's video is because all these videos that you're seeing, 6 out of the 8 were flown right over my home. Right over my home here in Pahrump, Nevada. This gives you an indicator of how many UFOs are flying over Pahrump, Nevada every single day. How is it that I can get this many UFOs and the government says that there's nothing to see here? There's no concrete proof yet. There's nothing that can solidify a reason why we should do a program where everybody's involved with it. There is nothing there. They are talking out of their behinds. I'm sorry to have to say it that way, but there's no other way to say it. These government officials, whether it be the Pentagon, whether it be NASA, whether it be SETI, or any other government agency that's being funded through the Defense Department, they have to be more transparent to the people of this country. Our taxpayers deserve that. If anything else, we deserve that. I'm taking these videos and photos for you, the taxpayers out there. If anything else, give you an understanding that your tax dollars are being used for good things. Don't get me wrong, NASA has done a lot of great things, and they still continue doing a lot of great things. I just don't care for their lies. I mean, why else would people start an acronym of never a straight answer? You know, that's what NASA stands for to a lot of people. After this loop here, we'll go to the first photo. But I think you can find that interesting that these craft are flying. Look at that. It looks like a rocket ship. A little, but it's still there. That's where it originated from when we first started to see it on the television screen here at the studio, and then he followed it up. And you can see the brilliance of it from the blue sky. And as we get closer, you're going to be able to start seeing some definition. Whenever I darken up the background, I do that for a reason. Yeah, this one, a couple people reminded me, this does look like the bell also, doesn't it? The Glocka. It's got that shape, like the first segment. But this UFO was taken on May 16th also, and we slowed it down 50%. It was taken at 11:57 a.m., just 3 minutes. 3 minutes again before noon. It went, of course, over my house. But interesting enough for this this particular UFO, you see different shades inside of it. Again, you have the density, which is inside of it. Then you got the little dark orange. Let's go to the next one so we can get a close-up of it. And then you got the lighter outside. So which one is it? Is one the outside of the craft? We're talking about the darker orange, or is it the center part? Is that what the craft is? And then the blue would be the electromagnetic charge, or the anti-gravity, or even plasma charge. And I talked to an aerospace engineer before, and he says that he believes that's a plasma charge. Whether or not it is or not, who knows? You know, we don't have these craft right next to us. We don't know. And this should be the final photo. And like I said, the pictures that I have versus what you're seeing on TV, it shows a lot better on television. Here, when I do the photographs, I have to kind of squish them together so I don't get the same view you're seeing on television. So sometimes I make an error, and I admit that. Now, again, you got several different layers here, and which one is it? If you are an aerospace engineer, or if you have any kind of technical knowledge, even a rocket scientist, I would love to hear from you and tell me what you think these objects are. I call them UFOs, unidentified flying objects. being flown by intelligent beings from other civilizations. They're surely not Earthlings, because we would have already crashed. These objects are doing incredible maneuvers up there, and I have to say that if these are not controlled by intelligent beings, I don't know what else I can say about them, because they're sure not insects. So let's go to the next video. Again, this one here, right over my house. We had to zoom in again. I took out my house on the bottom. The reason why is because this craft was flying so fast that we took this down 90% on a slow motion video. Slow motion, another 90%. That gives you an idea how fast this craft was flying. Where we started with the arrow is because it came in so fast that I didn't want to waste a lot of my technical director's time, so I wanted you to see this. And so we got it where it's its brightest point when it started, and then we went on from there. This craft traversed through the whole screen, but again, we're chopping here, chopping there, so you can get an idea of what you're seeing. This is a true UFO. Make no mistake about it. This is flown by intelligent beings, not by the United States Air Force or any naval aviators. This is a UFO. I don't know how much more stupider I can say that, but you know, it irritates me because every time I look up the latest information from NASA or the latest information from the European Space Center, and all of these groups that are in our skies and want to go into space, they give the most asinine explanations for what you see, what you think you saw. And as long as I have a voice on television for the American taxpayers, and even for Europeans and the Asian space agencies, the people who want to know the truth even in their countries, at least I'm a voice that can actually say, these are UFOs, bar none, okay? So after this one, we'll go to the first photo of this one. And there's where we started with the arrow, and it was at its darkest point. So I wanted to give you an idea what it looked like. And you remember, you saw the object. It was traveling from left to right. But as we zoom in on it, you're going to notice something. There's not only a dark area in it. Now, the dark area you see could be the spacecraft itself. And because it's not going in like a bullet shape, it's going sideways. That I believe it's giving off a lot of electromagnetic charge. Could that be the gravity amplifiers pointing in that direction? And that's why you're seeing so much of this electrical field that we're seeing here? Good possibility. If you understand what I'm talking about. The gravity amplifiers that are in these craft, and some scientists say, who are whistleblowers, say there's 3 gravity amplifiers in the bottom part of the craft. And which way they want to go, they point their gravity amplifiers towards the direction they want to go. And that's why you see sometimes they're going belly up and traveling in that direction. And this craft is doing the exact same thing, is exactly what these scientists or these whistleblowers had said that they were doing. As we get closer up, you can see it. I believe that's true because the dark matter, I believe that's the density, I believe that's the craft. And all that orange, yellow, white that you see there, depending on your television, that I believe wholeheartedly that's your gravity amplifiers making that happen right there. Now, as you can see, let's look at the last photo of it. There's a little bit of a purple haze all around the craft and even around the electromagnetic field. So I think there's a layer of protection that goes over a layer of protection. Is that for their protection? Is it for just in case they're shot, maybe a projectile towards them that can counter that? Because during World War II, when some of the Air Force, Army Air Force personnel were saying they shot 20 millimeter rounds at these objects, and in some cases they said that the objects seemed to absorb the rounds. In some, they said they bounce off the craft. So it can go either way. We don't know because of the fact that if a country has downed craft, I am sure, I am most positive that they have practiced that, shooting rounds at these craft as they sit on the floor. I'm sure they've taken them to target ranges within the secret bases, and they probably fired rounds at them. I have no doubt that that's happened. There was a case where I can't remember what Air Force base it was, that these gentlemen were talking, and they said that they saw a craft that was leaning up against the wall, and it had a big hole in it, like somebody had shot a round on it. So I know that they're doing that to test if they can bring one of these down by maybe a 105 round, or maybe even a laser, a projectile. I believe that's all possible. And if that isn't possible, why would they have a craft that's got a hole in it where a projectile did go through it? That makes a lot of sense. So when you read things and you understand how things work, you get ideas. Me being in the military, I've seen a lot of tanks, armored personnel carriers with holes in them, where they've shot even the German 88 through one of these. It's made a pretty good sized hole. So I believe they were testing that at some of these centers. That ends my show. And what I want to go next to is a public announcement. And I think this is so important that we show this. This is the craft fair I talked about last week. And I would really appreciate it if people would support this. This is going to be inside of the Pahrump Nugget Casino. And it's going to be every second and fourth Sunday from 10 to 4 p.m. starting in June all the way to September. And please come out and support your community. For those of you who are in Henderson, Las Vegas, surrounding areas, please come in and check out these vendors. They're giving a lot of their time and effort to make this happen. It's in the ballrooms next to the bowling center. And so for those of you who are visiting Pahrump, please come out and support this very, very important cause. Thank you very much, and I'll see you next week.
Hi, I'm Joseph, the host and creator of UFO We Want to Know. Tune in every Saturday evening on KPVM Pahrump Channel 25.1 from 7 p.m. You'll see never-before-viewed videos and photos taken by myself, all over the world.
Thank you for watching. UFO We Want to Know, and remember, yes, they are out there.